James, I just want to do something for my son. But every path is blocked. Every dream comes with hatred. What would happen if a stranger, someone who could change your life, walked into your world? For James Carter, this moment was the turning point that would change everything. But that stranger, with a responsibility to fulfill, had her own secret to reveal. And when that secret came out, James learned that sometimes, in this world, doing what's right requires making the hardest decisions. And this was just the beginning. Find out what happens when a responsible man faces the greatest challenge of his life. Could this truly be a new beginning, or a journey lost forever? The snow fell like ash over Chicago, cloaking the city in a muted gray shroud. At a deserted bus stop on the edge of Englewood, James Carter stood alone, a worn silhouette against the storm. His hands, rough from years of hauling crates and scrubbing floors, clutched a stack of crumpled job applications, each one a fragile lifeline, each one a dead end. At 38, he was a single dad, a former warehouse worker now teetering on the brink, his brown eyes hollowed by sleepless nights. The wind clawed through his thin hoodie, but he stood rigid, lost in the weight of keeping his 9-year-old son, Ethan, afloat. He didn't see her approach, the woman who slipped through the blizzard like a ghost. She stopped a few feet away, shivering in a threadbare jacket, her blonde hair lashing her face like wet straw. Her arms were locked tight across her chest, her breath puffing out in sharp, shallow bursts. James's gaze flicked to her, then lingered. Without a word, he shrugged off his hoodie, faded, patched to the elbows, the last scrap of warmth he owned, and stepped into the biting cold. "Take it," he said, his voice gritty from exhaustion. "You're gonna freeze out here." She paused, her blue eyes cutting through the snow. They held a glint, wariness, maybe a spark of something softer, before she reached out, wrapping the hoodie around herself. Her fingers brushed a crumpled drawing in the pocket, Ethan's scrawl of a stick-figure dad and son under a lopsided sun, labeled "Me plus Dad." She glanced at him, but he'd already turned back to the street lamp's faint halo, shoulders hunched against the gale. "I'm Emily," she said, her voice piercing the wind's howl. "James." He didn't look at her. She fished a sleek black card from her bag and pressed it into his hand. "If you ever need anything." He gave a curt nod, stuffing it into his jeans. A fleeting kindness, he figured, nothing more. She faded into the white, leaving him alone again, the cold sinking into his marrow. He didn't know the woman he'd just met was Emily Harper, CEO of Horizon Tech, a titan steering Chicago's tech boom. And he couldn't have imagined that his hoodie, now draped over her shoulders, would unravel a story that would rewrite his life. James trudged through the snow to his rusted sedan, parked in a littered lot behind a shuttered diner. The car hadn't started in weeks, its battery dead, but it was home, a cramped, freezing shell where he and Ethan scraped by. Ethan was with James's sister, Tara, tonight, a rare reprieve from their routine of huddling under a single blanket, splitting cans of soup heated on a camping stove. 3 years ago, James's wife, Sarah, had walked out, leaving him with a 6-year-old and a stack of unpaid bills. The warehouse job vanished in a wave of layoffs, and now he pieced together survival, delivering pizzas, shoveling driveways, anything to keep Ethan in school and out of foster care. The applications taunted him. Warehouse experience, flexible hours. Once, he dreamed of a house, a yard. Now, he just wanted a working heater. He climbed into the car, the icy seat stinging his skin. His fingers grazed Emily's card on the dash, Emily Harper, Horizon Tech. He snorted, flicking it aside. Charity from a stranger. Sleep came in jagged shards, haunted by Ethan's small voice. "Dad, are we going to be okay?" And Sarah's last words, "I can't do this anymore." The cold pressed in, a relentless reminder of how far he'd fallen. Across the city, Emily sat in her sleek office atop Horizon Tech's glass tower, the hoodie folded on a chair. Ethan's drawing, "Me plus Dad," lay on her desk, its innocence slicing through her polished exterior. She traced the crayon lines, her mind slipping to a bitter night 2 decades back. A stranger's coat in a frozen alley, a lifeline when she was a runaway teen with nothing but hunger and fear. She typed James Carter into a private database, her curiosity a quiet ember. What she found tightened her chest. A man stretched to breaking. Eviction notices piling up. A son in patched sneakers. A life of grit and silent sacrifice. A single dad fighting a losing battle. A plan sparked, raw and unformed, but insistent. Days later, a sharp knock jolted James awake. A man in a crisp coat stood outside the car, snow dusting his shoulders. "James Carter? Emily Harper sent me. She wants to see you." James squinted, suspicion coiling tight. "Why?" She didn't say. "Just come." Reluctantly, he followed, the cold biting deeper, without his hoodie. The man drove him to Horizon Tech's headquarters, a gleaming monolith piercing the skyline. Inside, Emily waited in a minimalist office, her presence both commanding and warm. She didn't waste time. "I've got a job for you," she said, leaning forward. "Not warehouse stuff. Something different." He crossed his arms, brow furrowed. "I don't get it. You gave me your hoodie. No hesitation, no agenda. That's rare, James. I need someone like you, someone who sees people, not just profits. A community impact advisor. You'd help us stay real in a world of machines." He stared, disbelief hardening his voice. "You don't know me." "I know enough." She slid a folder across the desk. His life in stark ink. The layoffs, Sarah's desertion, Ethan's school reports, the car they lived in. "I had you checked out. You're not a stranger anymore." Anger flared, hot and sudden. "You had no damn right." "I did it because I see you," she cut in, unflinching. "And I think you're worth more than that car, more than those rejection letters." Her words hit like a punch, cracking the wall he'd built. Worth. He hadn't felt that since Ethan's last birthday, when he'd scrounged $5 for a gas station cupcake. What's the catch? No catch. Just a chance. Visit Harper House tomorrow. See what I mean? Harper House stood in Bronzeville, a warm oasis amid crumbling brick. James arrived guarded and stepped into a hum of life. Kids painting walls, parents laughing over coffee. A plaque caught his eye, in memory of Daniel, who gave me a coat and a start. Emily appeared beside him, her voice low. "Daniel saved me when I was a kid, homeless, starving. His coat kept me alive that winter. I built this for him, and for others like us." Us. James's eyes narrowed. "I wasn't always this," she said, gesturing to her tailored blazer. "I was you once. Broke. Cold. Someone gave me a shot. Now I'm giving you one." A boy darted past, his grin a mirror of Ethan's. James's throat tightened. Purpose flickered, a spark in the dark. "Okay," he said, voice rough. "I'll try." Months unfurled. James threw himself into the role, his raw honesty shaking Horizon Tech's polished edges. He pushed for affordable housing grants, after-school programs, a voice for the overlooked. Emily watched, awed, as he became her anchor, and she his. Late-night talks at a 24-hour diner peeled back their layers. James spoke of Ethan's quiet strength, Sarah's betrayal, the guilt of failing his son. Emily confessed her climb from nothing, her fear of becoming the corporate shell she'd once despised. But shadows loomed. One night, sorting old files, James found a photo tucked in a report. Emily, younger, with a man who could have been his brother. Caption: Emily and Daniel, 2001. His pulse raced. Was he a ghost she was chasing? He dug deeper, piecing together whispers. Daniel, her cousin, dead at 19. A street kid who'd shielded her from the worst. The resemblance wasn't coincidence. Doubt gnawed at him. He stormed to Harper House, the photo trembling in his hand. "Who am I to you, Emily?" A replacement for him. She froze, eyes wide. "No, James. Daniel was my cousin. He died saving me. You're not him." "Then why me?" His voice cracked, raw with the question that haunted him. Why does one soul lift another from a void? She exhaled, steadying herself. "You reminded me of what he stood for. Kindness, even when it costs you. I didn't pick you for him. I picked you for hope." Her words sank in, heavy but true. The rift mended, fragile but holding. Then came the twist. A typed note slipped under his office door. "Ask her about Project Nexus. She's not who you think." His stomach dropped. Project Nexus. Tech jargon he dismissed in boardroom chatter. Now it clawed at him. He hacked into restricted files, heart-pounding, and found it, a surveillance program tracking employees and clients, greenlit by Emily years ago. Betrayal burned through him. Was her kindness a mask? He confronted her in her office. The note crumpled in his fist. "What's this, Emily? Were you using me?" She paled, scanning the page. "James, I didn't." "Don't lie. Your name's on it. Project Nexus. Spying on people, on me." She sank into her chair, voice trembling. "I signed it years back, before you. It was a mistake. I thought control was strength. I shut it down last month. I swear." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I was ashamed. You made me see what I'd become. I ended it because of you." Doubt lingered, but her eyes, raw, unguarded, held him. He chose to believe, a leap over a chasm of mistrust. Time stretched. James's work rippled outward. Horizon Tech funded shelters. Ethan's school got new books. One evening, James brought Ethan to Harper House. The boy, wiry and bright-eyed, ran to Emily, hugging her legs. "Your dad's boss lady." She laughed, ruffling his hair, and James felt a warmth he'd forgotten. A year later, at a Horizon Tech gala, Emily took a stage. "James Carter changed us," she said, her voice clear. "He showed us kindness isn't soft, it's steel." She turned to him, holding a key and a deed. "This is yours. A home for you and Ethan." The crowd erupted, but James's world shrank to her. He stepped forward, hand in his pocket. "Emily, you gave me more than a job or a house. You gave me my son's smile, my life back." He pulled out a simple ring, bought with his first real paycheck. "Marry me." Gasps rippled through the room. Emily's breath hitched, then steadied. Yes. They wed at Harper House, Ethan at James's side in a borrowed suit, the community their family. Snow fell outside, but inside warmth bloomed. Emily whispered, "You were my coat in the storm," and James, holding her and Ethan close, felt whole. The ending crystallized. That one act, handing over his hoodie, had ignited a chain of trust, hope, and redemption. James rebuilt his life, brick by brick. The home was small, but theirs, a 2-bedroom in Englewood with a yard for Ethan to run in. He picked Ethan up from Tara's that spring, the boy's eyes wide at the sight of his own room. "Dad, we made it," Ethan said, and James nodded, tears blurring his vision. At Horizon Tech, he rose, his voice shaping a company that now valued people over profit. And with Emily, he found love, not a replacement for Sarah, but something new, forged in shared scars and quiet strength. Their life wasn't perfect. Money stayed tight, old wounds lingered. But it was theirs, built on a single, selfless moment in a blizzard. One act of kindness had changed everything. Hey, if this story grabbed you, hit like and subscribe for more. What's the one act of kindness that shifted your path? Drop it below. I'd love to hear.